Yo, what's up guys, JD here, and today I'm back to you with a new video. This video is actually going to be about what needs to be avoided in Need for Speed 2019 coming from Need for Speed Payback. I feel that now is the time for me to actually come back and start doing Need for Speed videos as we slowly go into 2019. I'm going to be talking about Need for Speed Payback in this particular video due to the fact that this game, although it had a few good things for it, it was a bad Need for Speed game and it wasn't a great game overall. The first and most important point that I'm going to make is that the speed card system from this game should never ever return in a future Need for Speed game. I actually despise this system. The main two reasons are, one, due to the fact that it is based on luck, and second of all, you have to actually go out of your way to get the really good parts, which I feel is absolutely time wasting, and it actually creates artificial grinding. The one positive I am going to mention is that to keep the fictional brands going into Need for Speed 2019, the way to do it would be to have your performance customization from Need for Speed 2015, mix the parts with the actual brands in the game, therefore problem solved, done. But overall, please do not bring this system back in a future Need for Speed game going forward. Drifting into the next point, and this is another important point, the handling model for the game needs to actually be improved ASAP. There's a model called Brawl Tendo. It's actually gone deep into modifying Need for Speed 2015's handling model, as everybody knows the handling model was absolutely terrible. Some people would actually say in the comments, I know this is going to come, they're going to be like, oh, go to Forza Horizon or go play The Crew 2. What I'm trying to say is that while I can acknowledge that Need for Speed is an arcade game, it's the fact that I actually want to feel like I'm driving a car like the older black box games where they mastered it perfectly, especially with this game. Even though the handling wasn't the best in Pro Street, they did actually master the feel of driving a car in that game, in my opinion. He has gone deep into the Frostbite engine, and he has actually said that the default vehicle physics setup is so much better than Need for Speed 2015's and Need for Speed Payback's physics. What he's actually said that the physics would actually please both the grip handling crowd as well as the brake to drift handling crowd. What has actually baffled me and a lot of players is that why Ghost has decided to do their own thing instead of using what's there. What I actually will say is that for the next game and going forward for the series itself is that they need to actually capture the feel of Need for Speed The Run's handling model and mix up brake to drift with it as well, therefore creating the perfect arcade handling model for Need for Speed going forward. With cop chases, I do feel that they need to be in free roam as well as being in unscripted events. One thing I loved about Need for Speed 2015, regardless of the cop chases being terrible, was the fact that the cops were actually unscripted and they could come anytime in your race, and it added a bit of that adrenaline rush where you wanted to actually escape them. The main problem I have with this game and the cop chases in particular is that the cops are stuck behind scripted events such as bait crates, abandoned cars and runner missions. For the next game, if they could actually mix the mechanics of Need for Speed 2015's pursuit system with the aggression of the police in Need for Speed Payback's AI, it actually would make a decent cop system in the next game. The next mode that I feel that should never ever come back in a Need for Speed game is off-roading. While I can praise Ghost for actually trying to do something new within the Need for Speed series, the way this was implemented was poorly done. The handling actually feels more as the Need for Speed 2015's. One thing I didn't like as well was that derelict car parks actually involved off-roading to find them, which actually was annoying. With the exception of the Shift games and Pro Street, Need for Speed has always had street racing integrated into its DNA from the beginning of this series. What I'm trying to say is that they need to stick with asphalt racing going forward for the series. My next point is going to be about the map design. I actually do feel that the map needs to be designed a lot better. Even though this map was one of the biggest, if not the biggest map in a Need for Speed game, I actually do feel that this map was just empty and barren. They called it a racer's paradise. It actually felt more like a racer's wasteland. My idea for the next map is that it should actually complement the handling model idea that I mentioned earlier. What I actually would like to see for the map design is that it should be similar to Need for Speed 2015 but a lot bigger and expanded. If not similar to Need for Speed 2015, either similar to Fairhaven or Bayview. The next point that I would like to make is that I feel that the class system needs to disappear and should not come back in a Need for Speed game. The way the crew one actually implemented the system was 10 times a lot better and actually made sense compared to the way this game actually implemented it. If they do decide to bring the system back, they actually need to follow how the crew one did it. One of the next important points I am actually going to make is that microtransactions need to be handled better and in a professional manner. The way that vanity customization was done in this game was absolutely terrible. Why should I spend my real life money or my speed points to go out my way to get a vanity part, which actually could be the same within the said 10 same shipments, instead of me actually going to the shop, buying the part I want, or unlocking it in a special storyline mission and then done. Also, the way that the DLC car packs were handled, I felt that was very misleading. A lot of people actually assumed and came to me on my previous videos stating that they thought that the car packs were actually going to be part of the deluxe edition, and I had to clarify to them that it wasn't. So what I'm going to say about this is they can handle this a lot better and actually make it clearer, and DLC car packs need to be part of the deluxe edition when you actually buy the game, instead of actually charging more people for these cars. The next point I'm actually going to make is that I do feel gear ratio and torque need to be realistic, similar to how it was in Need for Speed Pro Street. The next important point I am going to make is that I do feel multiplayer needs to be done in a much better way, and they need to nerf the OP cars to make this more skill based. The one YouTuber who has nearly perfectly summarized how multiplayer should be is actually Black Panther. On his recent Need for Speed 2019 video, I do agree with his points for the most part, except for one point, which is that multiplayer needs to be the focus for the next game, which I do disagree with. What I do think that they need to do is that, in my opinion, the servers should be very similar to Need for Speed World. They had one of the best servers in a Need for Speed game, and that was done perfectly outside of Need for Speed Most Wanted 2012. The next point I'm actually going to make is about the single player mode. The first and most important point I am going to make about this is that they need to give us a story that actually immerses us into the game world. Also, give us interesting and memorable characters. Also, give us great looking and unique looking liveries for bosses and rivals that actually do affect the storyline. The penultimate point I'm actually going to make is about the updates. With the exception of the Speedcross update, every update afterwards actually felt meaningless. What I mean by this is that all the content that was given in these updates was the content that should have been in the game when it first came out. What I am hoping for the next game that they do is that they actually get content that enhances the game's lifespan. The final point I am going to make is about the audio. While I actually didn't mind the original soundtrack for this game, the actual music that wasn't the soundtrack, I actually did not like most of the songs on it, except for a few. I actually thought that the soundtrack didn't match with the tone of the game very well. What I am hoping is that for the next game, if they can actually get soundtrack that matches well with the game's environment and actually works with the racing as well as the customization in the garages, or if they can either bring back EA tracks or mix it up with radio stations. Also, when it comes to the car sounds, they need to make it very similar to how it was in Need for Speed 2015 and Pro Street, but make them much more louder. And that's all I'm going to say about the audio. So at these points I have what I have come up with this video so far. If you have got any additional points that you would like to add, please let me know in the comment section below, and I would like to see these as well. What I'm actually going to do for the next video is going to be what needs to be brought from Need for Speed Payback in a good way that needs to come back into the Need for Speed 2019. So that's going to be it from me, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Like, share and sub if you're new. Take care and peace.